Today we're going to look at skills and talents, a topic many of you have asked about. But first, a quick update on things we've shared in previous development blogs. Ancestral, demonic, angelic powers. So for those of you that don't know, a new thing coming to Diablo 4 is they speculated on top of having like intelligence, strength, dexterity, mana, possibly. There's these secondary affixes of your stats, not necessarily abilities, that you need to acquire. So you need X amount of ancestral. An item you might get might have plus 14 ancestral or plus 20 demonic or plus whatever angelic. I don't think there's negative amounts of it, but I could be wrong. To begin, some of you let us know that the fantasy of ancestral, demonic, angelic power just isn't cool enough in the current version of the pitch. Duly noted. Another problem we identified was the ratio of effort to reward. Alright, I'm gonna stop real quick. Wasn't cool enough in the pitch. That could just be us not really fully understanding, endgame with it. I mean, we might think it's really cool if we knew more about it, but from what we understand from an action RPG perspective is that this is this just seems like another skill you got to worry about. And if these skills on top of the already base vitality and things like that you're trying to stack to build your character in a certain way, if you're having to worry about this, it's just one more thing. Anyway, let's continue. Duly noted, another problem we identified was the ratio of efforts to rewards. For example, in order to gain a specific minor bonus, players would most likely have to carry around several extra pieces of gear, each with a different amount of ancestral or demonic power on them. That's what I was saying. You would need to constantly calculate each of the power levels of those items and compare their overall power. It feels like an excessive amount of bookkeeping for the player. However, one thing we really liked about the system was the gameplay of managing stats in a meaningful way to hit certain bonus thresholds that then make your items better suited for playstyles you are going for. We need some more time for the iteration/rework here, and look forward to sharing more itemization in our next quarterly blog. Okay. So yes, they are aware of the problems of just inventory, stash space, and not even just in your stash, but on your person. A big thing with Diablo 2 was, as you know, with all these, later endgame things, you get those charms, which you don't have in D3, but you would get like a small charm, a large charm, a grand charm, each taking up various more amount of inventory slot. Most of the time, you would just find, these charms that would help your certain build, whether it's, plus 4 all skill, gives you a little bit more vitality, you'd fill your thing of magic find. That was a big one if you're just trying to MF farm. You would run out of stash space, and then eventually you just carry around the Heraldric chest the whole time, and that would be your actual loot thing you'd throw in what you could there. So very limited, but in order to optimize power, you would need to do that. So they're kind of thinking the same thing. It's like, from what we understand, to unlock certain abilities or power spikes in those abilities, that they're going to be unlocked either through ancestral, demonic, or angelic power. You're going to have to carry out a huge loadout now. Like what they gave us in D3 was the armory, where you could make a build and you could swap it out very quickly. Like, this wouldn't be a big deal of having this independent thing if there was a way that you could switch armories on the battlefield. But that might be a little broken, because you would just swap to, you would kill a boss, but maybe killing bosses has more magic find if you have, X amount of whatever angelic power on certain items. So you'd swap real quick, and it just could get a little clunky. And just my thing is, like, you're already going to be looking for pathing involving your skill tree and items, like in Diablo 2. People would just use for whatever character you would just need X amount of strength to be able to wield a certain amount of armor, a certain amount of items, and once you hit it, you didn't put any more into it. It's not like how D3 is where if you're, you know, a barbarian, you want all the strength in the world because that's your damage dealer. So, eh, if having to worry about on top of your dexterity, your intelligence, and you know all the rest, you're gonna have to factor in, you know, is my item perfect with all these base stats, and then on top of it, is it perfect for these secondary angelic, demonic, ancestral powers? Um, Time will tell. I mean, even you know they're still figuring things out. Anyway, let's keep it moving here. Legendary items. We're exploring some big changes in this space for two reasons. One, we agree with the feedback that a character's power is currently too dependent on items, which is pretty much D3. We plan to put more of the player's power back into the character to make build choices more impactful. Good, like D2, that you could die, but you are a level whatever 70 necromancer, so you've put 70 amount of skill points into various skills, and even though you might die, you will still have your abilities. You'll still be semi-strong to kill things, rather than have the majority of player coming from items they have equipped, like D3. You don't have your items. You're just like, if you take all your items off in D3, doesn't matter how many paragon you have, you're pretty much the same as everybody else. That said, it is important that we strike the right balance so the itemization choices always feel meaningful. Agreed. Two, we've always had very mixed team feedback regarding core itemization. We're currently looking at how to best differentiate our various item qualities. For example, should magic quality items have higher affix stats than rare items? That's kind of a throwback to D2. You can expect more about legendary items in the next blog. Okay. Yeah, it looks like we're getting the skills here, so we'll stop and discuss this for a little bit. Yeah, I would like to see a return of that to how Diablo 2 was. Whether or not you've played Diablo 2 or not, but you know, we have a very strong community that I'm sure a lot of people that are going to be trying D4 have played D2, and even if you haven't, the basic premise was, unlike D3, which I would assume you have played one or the other by coming into this, and if you're a brand new player, welcome. But anyway, the way that D3 works is that the white items, the standard ones, and the magic items, the blue ones, and the rare items, the yellow ones, they don't serve a purpose in D3 really, other than to break them down for crafting material or to use them in Kanai's Cube to re-roll them to, you know, a legendary. Legendaries and set items are end game, you know, they're meta, and then you know, further expanding on that is ancients and then primal ancients version of them. So whereas D2, there was some benefit to the differentiate, like you would want maybe an ethereal you know, armor or something because it rolls with better affixes. Like people sought things out. On top of that too, what D2 had that a lot of people are missing from D3 was just rune words. And rune words were just a series of stones that you could farm and collect of varying degrees, and you put them in a combination of a socketed item, whether it be a five socketed scythe or a 3 socketed armor or whatever. There was an index of rune words that you could arrange in a certain manner, given that they're the right. They would have to be just a regular white item. They couldn't be magic. They couldn't be rare. They would have to be just, you know, a regular standard white item. Now, upon that too, there was different qualities of those items. There was superior, you know, etc. So you would look for, like, hey, this is a really good superior scythe that has, you know, 5 sockets in it, which was the thing. So like, it wasn't just trash. It was like, I might be able to make something out of this with the rune words. And I think a lot of people missed that because it gave crafting kind of back and more in your hands. And not to mention, it gave validity for, and then same thing for yellow items in D2. You know, there was those rare circlets that were what, plus X amount to all skills or something. And even though it wasn't a legendary item, they were still very, very useful for certain builds. you just need to squeeze a little more power out of just through the thing. So I hope they do find a balance for that. Because yeah, the whole if they don't want metas to get stagnant, as it kind of is with D2, it's sets or legendaries, or nothing. What they brought back with the Legacy of Dreams gem and what was before that the Legacy of Nightmares ring set, to allow you to get more power out of their basic legendary items. They were kind of going in the right direction, but there's only so far they can do. So yes, more to come on the item thing. Let's just keep moving. New skill system. As Luis mentioned, we have made some major changes to Diablo 4 skills and talent system. We've been reading through a lot of the comments from the community and agree that the talent system need more depth. Similarly, skill system progression felt too simple, which created issues where players would have no meaningful reason to spend their skill points. Yeah, that's not good. With the valuable feedback in mind, we have been iterating on a new skill system. As you can see from the screenshot below, we have separate sections for skills and passives in our freshly painted skill tree. Take a look. Okay. Yeah, good thing we're reading. The upper skill sections is where you will spend the skill points that you will earn by leveling up. So the upper section being the branches. Here you will unlock brand new skills, unlock additional functionality for these skills, and unlock passive points that you can spend on the lower section of the tree. Do you get 2? Like when you level up, you get passive and because it doesn't seem like there's nearly as many as there are up here for nodes. Anyway, charge bolt. Release 6 bolts of lightning that courses around in an erratic pattern, dealing 8 to 12. It looks like they're taking the damage numbers back down to where D2 levels are at, which I'm not opposed to, because then they could scale with skill, or they scale with level. I'm not opposed to it. It's not like we're used to seeing the goddamn D3 numbers with a bunch of 3 zeros attached behind all that. But whatever, power's power. It's all relative. Conjure a ball of lightning that slowly, this is kind of relevant. What I really like, let's note here, is pre-alpha in development content, not final. You goddamn bunch of jackals and hyenas chewing us apart. Imagine if they didn't put that. Someone in the meeting was like, you need to put this here now. Probably send them a little screenshot of it. It's like, you forgot the not final thing. They're gonna think it's final, and then we're gonna get a bunch of angry hate mail. You can spend skill points on square nodes to unlock new active skills for your character. Yeah, okay. I get it. Upgrade node, charge bolts. Yeah, okay, basic skill tree stuff. Upgrade node. Wait. So there's skills and then there's upgrade nodes. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I mean, this is much different than what they showed at BlizzCon. Or was it E3? Whichever one. Spend points in circular upgrade nodes to enhance active skills you've unlocked. Okay, you unlock them, or do you have to put skills into them to unlock them? Anyway, as you explore the branches, you will find passive nodes. Okay, are these the same passives that you see down here? Or are these like bigger power spikes? We don't know. This is all conjecture at this point. It just doesn't. Anyway, let's just keep going. Overcharge. Critical hit has 3% chance to create crackling lightning energy. Crackling energy gives you 25 mana when you move near it. You can spend passive points in the tree to unlock powerful effects. So are the effects at the top of the tree not as powerful? I would say more constant, but anyway. The skill tree you see above consists of many specific nodes, a sample of which you can see in screenshots above. Thank you. If we imagine every single node on the massive skill tree affecting different skills in different ways, the path you decide to take will determine big power increases and playstyle choices. Okay. The passive part of the system is where you'll find more general upgrades to your character. These effects are not specific to particular skills, therefore the skill tree will have a good mix of all type of different choices for players to make. One thing we want to point out is that players will not be able to acquire every skill tree node. Okay, it's kind of like D2. We're currently aiming for 30 to 40% of nodes filled for an endgame. You might want to bump that to like at least 45. At least, okay, so let me finish. Okay, so that players can have very distinct and different ways they build out their character. Okay. Before we get into this enchanting system, okay, I gotta. LeBron, what's up, man? Hey, dude, thanks for stopping by, man. You're a champ, man. Thanks for coming by. I'm just making a YouTube thing, so I'm recording this right now and just kind of going over these D4 patch notes. Kind of sound crazy. Okay. So one thing with this 30 to 40% of nodes filled for endgame, I'm okay with that, honestly. But here, I'll just pull up the paint one of this. But, big buts. Like D2, what I think people are kind of hoping for is what, not necessarily what should determine your character's path. Let's say you just go down this branch, and this is what you want. Say you just go down this, and then you choose, you know, I don't know if you can, but like these ones. So say this is endgame. That's what you got. That's fine. Some guy gave you a modded Demon Hunter set. Interesting. So this is fine. But if this is endgame and you don't get to explore, I mean, okay, this doesn't look like 40% of the nodes. Again, I don't know, are they talking about like with combined with passives and with this? Is that like total 40%? I don't know. But the thing that, get rid of this stuff, but the thing that what I think we're all kind of hoping for that we miss about Diablo 2, the one thing that they are wanting to make optimized with giving your character power rather than just your character has power through their gear. The reason why your skills give them power is because you can, in D2, you could save your skill points up to wait to dump it all into a certain abilities. Say, I mean, that's where like you know, you would save your skill points up, you would choose what weapon you are as a barbarian. You're like, I'm gonna go maces or flails or whatever, and I'm not putting points into axe mastery, I'm not putting points into sword mastery, I'm just putting points into mace mastery. That's it. And so is that gonna have a similar thing where you can say you're able to choose this fork? Things will make it a little bigger for posterity's sake. So I mean, you would have obviously some kind of lightning thing here, and obviously fire, some kind of configuration thing. This looks like an ice arrow or something. This looks like, you know, cold. This looks like lightning or weather. This is obviously fire. So you're not allowed to access, they don't want you to access the whatever 40%. And we break it up like this is one thing, 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess 40% would be, anyway, whatever. I'm getting into numerical stuff. What they want, if you want to make your character powerful, like it was in D2, so where if you died and you don't have your gear, even though your gear gives you big stat increases, but they, like, what they're saying is they want it to be something similar in D2 is you're a level 65 necromancer, you've put 65 different points or allocated 65 stats into different things, even if it's down here, whatever. So you got this whole thing. You could put, I could put 2 here instead of just 1 after another to connect the node, dot, 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 dot. It's kind of vague on that. I would think that if they're talking about skill tree stuff, they would say something. Maybe they do down there. It didn't look like it. It looks like we're getting done with skill point things. But if they're saying that you can only complete 30 to 40% of this whole big fucking tree, so it's going to force players to, choose a path. Is there crossover? I don't see, like, okay, I choose these 2, branches. Okay, I can go here. Can I put multiple points into? They've made it Path of Exiles. You're going to say the same thing. This doesn't look like Path of Exiles to me. Path of Exiles, you can almost have like everything. It looks like the way you connect things is crazy. Like, I really liked Wolcen. I really, other than the fact that the skill tree didn't really fucking work and there's a bunch of dead skills, which, rip, that sucks. But one thing that Wolcen and Path of Exiles have in common with, it seems like this, is it's not like Diablo 2 where you can keep putting, points into one skill. Like, say I'm level 10. But I don't want to go any like Diablo 2. It's like I'm just putting, like when you're a necromancer, I'm just going Fang. Everyone realized that Fang or Teeth, necromancer. Just keep putting them into it. Like, it's the best thing you can have until hell, and then you would remap your skills through what's her name, Akara, and then you would just remap. And then when you're in the higher difficulties, you would remap it to whatever else you want, Bone Spear or something, and you could take all those points you accumulated and then you just go and dump it into Bone Spear. You build the path up to where you want, not wasting anything with a bare minimum of this, and then you just dump. Just comparatively, like, no offense, like, people were kind of happy with this, and I know they were kind of making fun of the skill tree and stuff, and when they first saw it, it wasn't a skill tree, it was a skill twig, whatever. People are so witty. This isn't that much. Like how many? This is the 3 pages that you would see. I just pulled up Sorceress just because, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 10 a page? So 30 skills? And I think we have like 36 in Diablo 3. And then you come to here. I mean, this looks like a lot. It's like, cool. We have, I'm not even going to count this. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But again, some of these are passive nodes. And they just buff basically. It seems like they're still trying to figure it out, which I don't blame them. That's fine. They're trying to figure it out too. But at the same time, if this is just going to get swiped away, is this really an update? I really would have liked to hear them confirm that, hey, you can just dump or not like confirm like this is going to be the meta, but like at least establish that, like, if you just want to, do whatever fireball and you're level 20, you can put 20 into fireball and that's, your path, because that's how it might end out. But I don't think it says. I've read these already a little bit before. I'm going through again, and I'm kind of realizing that they don't mention anything about being able to stack skills, which is a very big thing in Diablo 2. They don't confirm nor deny it. I don't even think they even speculate on it. But they do say we're currently aiming for 30% of the nodes filled for endgame. Does that mean like passive too? Is that including passive or skills? Like, anyway. Sorcerer's enchantment system. Many of you might remember the Barbarian's unique arsenal system. Their ability to carry and smoothly swap between multiple deadly weapons, which greatly increases their power. man, like I said, I applied for a writing job at Blizzard, and like I don't know. This just seems like fluff. Where's the money shot? You're fluffing me. We've also been exploring unique class mechanics for our class mechanics for our other classes. Yeah. The main goal for us here is to have a very unique class-specific mechanics in Diablo 4. Again, this is all fluff. They haven't told us anything. They spent a whole half paragraph not telling us anything. We have this goal because Diablo is kind of the game where many players try out different builds or classes, especially during seasonal play. We believe that once they find what a meta is, that's usually what fucking people do, and then all your other skills and shit are kind of bunk. Even in D2, they kind of do the thing. Like, we all know that, certain builds, like, oh, I can have a fissure druid and things like that. It's like, yeah, that's only going to work so well until you get to hell. So, it's fun to play, but it's not, meta. And if you're trying to get to certain endgame things, and if you can only get there because of a certain meta power spike that certain abilities give, then it makes all these other abilities that you come out with kind of stuff. It's the same thing that happens in the rune word thing in Diablo 3. It's like, that's cool, you gave us all these options, but most of them are kind of redundant. A lot of them don't do anything, really. Anyway, we believe that unique class mechanics with very different strengths and playstyles compared to other classes will make exploring different classes and playing the game much more fun. Dude, who the fuck is writing this? We believe the unique class mechanics with every different strength and playstyles compared to the classes will make exploring the different classes and playing the game much more fun. I get what they're saying, but that just seems like a lot of words to say. We want the classes to feel unique and different to bring out a more fun playstyle. Editor! For Sorceress, we've been trying to enchantment system. This is how it works. This will be interesting. Ball lightning. Conjure a ball. Again, like, this could all get changed. This is all fluff. This doesn't show me how anything works. Okay, enchant to slot when crackling energy would form, ball lightning is formed instead. So it's just like it's a modifier like how the rune words currently are in Diablo 3. Just like, okay, since I'm Satyr Boy over here, like the Fists of Heaven or Heaven's Fury, you click on, Fires of Heaven. Instead of having it be, if you do Blessed Ground, those beams come down. If I choose the rune word Fires of Heaven, it makes them shoot out like the prongs, like the trident shotgun thing. It's pretty much the same thing. Except for, I know it does something else different here. The ball lightning, unlike other classes, each sorcerer has 2 possible effects. So if you put this in an enchantment slot, it's going to do something else passively, I think. Sorcerer skills can be placed into 2 locations as an active skill slot that every other class has access to, and an enchantment slot. If you place the skill in the enchantment slot, you can no longer use it as an active skill, but your character instead as a secondary bonus power. Yeah, like a passive thing. Okay. That could be fun. 13 points available, view skill tree. Minor, I guess this would fall under abilities and not skills. I was gonna say, like, why don't you talk more about this if these are skills? It doesn't really feel like we really learned more about it. Enchantment. When crackling energy would form, ball lightning is formed instead. That's what the other one said. Ball lightning no longer collapses into crackling energy. That means nothing. Ball lightning as an enchantment, you can gain the secondary effect of a skill by placing it in the enchantment slot instead of an active skill slot. Okay. So you can move skills around kind of like in the in Diablo 3 in placement. You can place one here, and swap it around, blah, 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 blah. The power you gain from enchantment is extremely significant and you can currently make builds based around your enchantments, your active skills, or a mix of both. Okay, well here's my thing too. Just like being able to allocate skill points, once you place a skill in an enchantment slot, is it locked there? Do you have to go through a certain point of the game to remap your abilities? Like, you know, you get only a handful of times in, because they want people to make choices and be limited to only X amount of gear or of skill paths. With these enchantment things, if I choose to enchant ball lightning and put it into an enchant slot, do I not get to move it anymore? Is it just stuck there? They don't really say anything. I don't think they know, but that's something I'm curious about. Here's an example of the system using Meteor skill. Meteor allows you to call a fiery chunk of rock from the sky. If you choose to slot it as an enchantment, you won't be able to control your meteors, but they'll fall on enemies periodically, just like bombardment. This skill is still under development and may be different from game. They're really driving this up. Listen here, Driven to Conquer, we don't know. This is pre-alpha in development. Content not final. Okay. We've been testing this class mechanic for a while, and the team feedback has been really positive. Except for that one guy who always talks shit. Whatever, he might be trying to make the game better. This new system now empowers you to make more interesting choices to strategize around which skills you would want to slot as an enchantment, as you won't be able to put one skill in both places. Okay, that still doesn't answer the question though. You can't put one skill in both places, I get that, just like Diablo, you can't have fucking, you know, whatever, Fist of Heaven in 2 fucking slots, or Laws of Valor, or Disintegrate in 2 slots, blah blah blah. But once it's in there, can you not change it? Just like skill points. When you get skill points and you put 1 point into, I guess I can just bring up this shit. Put 1 point into here, can I not put any more points in there after that? Do I have to move forward? Do I get choices where I have to put 1 in here? Does this count, or do I get a passive skill and a regular skill? Maybe I missed that part. Probably did, because I'm not that bright. That's what I'm really curious. Like, how many can we stack on this? Because that was a huge power. That's how your build was. I'm gonna be, you know, a Zeal Paladin. You know, I'm gonna be a Hammerdin. You're not a Hammerdin when you just put 1 skill into it, and then it's like, I gotta just build this off and worry about ancestral power. So let's just keep going. I'm excited for all this. Like, I love Diablo. I'm gonna play it. Definitely. I'm just confused on, because it seems like they want to get away from what D3 was, with limiting people to only, like, your character is literally just this shell of an avatar that wears gear just like everyone else's gear, maybe with some different stats, and has the same power spike. There really wasn't any character to your character. There wasn't any commitment, really. So we're already at endgame progression stuff. Okay. We're also exploring a druid-specific class mechanic as well, and we'll have more information on this. See, dude, this game is really, really not close. Like I say, 2 years. 2 years at the soonest, earliest, whatever. Like, they don't even know that they're exploring a druid-specific thing. Isn't there supposed to be, like, more classes coming for the release? They don't even know what this guy's class is, let alone how they're gonna base this whole thing and the skill tree off of this thing that they don't even have. I really do think they need to get rid of the ancestral, angelic, and demonic thing, or at least simplify that. You know what really could, if you want to do the demonic, I mentioned we're gonna go back and nitpick some stuff, but this might be good. Because I know they're also trying to figure out a way to do paragon. And a lot of people are like, you shouldn't have paragon, you know, there should be a cap and whatever. But if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. I think these should be your paragon things, because they're worried about you having to fish items that have plus 14 angelic power. That's going to give a certain skill a little more power, and that's going to get really messy because you're going to have to carry around more gear unless you have an armory slot that you can change mid-battlefield, which even that's kind of messy. It's not, as they said, another problem is it has ratio of effort to rewards. I don't really think it's just, shoving your inventory in Diablo 2 full of charms and then using, the Heraldric Cube as your actual inventory. Like, they're looking for an ability with that, but if you have to, you hold an item and all the stats are great except you don't have the right angelic powers in it, it's not going to be as good of an item. That's unfortunate. What they could do, to get back to my point, is make angelic, demonic, and ancestral your paragon, and you can make it to where how it is in D3, where you can reset your paragon, and then that way you can. It's if you say you're just locked into your skills, you're like, for this there is no remapping, there are no resets. Ripper, good to see you, man. Yeah, I'm doing well. We're just kind of doing a YouTube video here, just making, just discussing the quarterly update. So say you're locked into these, and either you can put multiple ones on it, or you can't, whatever. But you're locked into them. At least if these were a paragon thing, and they really want to, it seems like they really want this, which is fine. It might be really cool. I just don't know what this entails endgame, or what this is really going to be fully in A2, and I don't think they do either. But if this is going to be a subjective thing that's going to unlock certain abilities for it, you might want to just get rid of this off of items and just make it a paragon, possibly, and be able to reset it. So, hey, I have an endgame, whatever, fireball sorceress. Oh, but, when I have angelic powers on it, I get more life per hit on it, and that's good for solo pushing. Oh, but when I am demonic, I just do more damage. It's going to make my fireballs DPS. I'll be more of a DPS thing. Ancestral could be whatever, magic find thing. Like, I don't know. And then you could reset those and the paragon points, and those would be your end game stats that you keep putting into to make them more powerful. That would be, I think, a better solution than to having these on individual items, because it's just having more stats on an item is going to seem a little much. We don't need that much more. I mean, we have certain stats on D3 items that are just, it doesn't matter. Like, you see, like, I see regenerate life on a fucking item, I'm just like, I don't care. Like, that's not a part of this game. Alright, let's just finish this up. Endgame progression system. Lastly, we have been hard at work on our endgame character progression system. This is an important feature, is going to take a little more time. It won't be in the next blog, but but we wanted to mention it here because it will be another significant source of power that comes from your class. The system is intended to provide more in-depth replayability than what Paragon currently offers in D3. We, and many Blizzard gamers, have talked about the concept of easy to learn, difficult to master. We believe that the endgame progression system is where the difficult to master component will come in, and should meet the expectations of most hardcore Diablo players out there. Okay. We're excited to read through the feedback of the community regarding our revamped skill talent system, as well as our new sorceress enchantment system. We are always reading through the comments on forums, Reddit, social media. That's cool. They should keep up on it. You can't please everybody, but at the same time, some people have some good fucking ideas. As always, please remember that none of this is final. Please remember that none of this is final, as the game is actively in development. Your constructive discussion around these features will help D4's development the most, and we greatly appreciate all of your continued support and discussion related to the game. We will see you in our next quarterly update as we dive deeper into some of the itemization changes that we have coming. Thanks again, David Kim, lead designer, system designer, Diablo 4. Okay. Well, one, just to highlight the things that I really want to know, that since this was a skill tree discussion thing, one, and the most important one, can we put more than one skill point into a certain skill? Because that's how a lot of builds were in Diablo 2. It obviously has nothing to do with Diablo 3, but if they're trying to make characters feel more distinct and unique and make this more of a commitment, if you're going down one path and you're only going to be able to do 30 to 40% of the nodes, can you stack them more? I mean, Path of Exile abandoned that. They don't do that. I don't think. I don't. Last I played, it's just the big whoop. Wolson, nope. You just it's all about pathing, and then you could rotate the thing with the dial, which I thought was pretty cool. But this is a very static tree. It's just it's there. So can I put 5 points into here, 6 points into here, 7 points into here, 1, 1, 1 to get to here, and then pump the shit out of that one, like how Diablo 2 was. Teeth Necromancer. That's you just use teeth forever until whatever, the very hell, and then you would remap and then just do Bone Spear or something. So you would only need to put enough for certain ones to get somewhere. Is this just a very straight linear path, very rigid, and you just have to branch off? And then also, do we get passive points on top? I didn't see anything about getting passive and this. Do you have to choose? Like, can you stack into here? So that's very interesting. That and the Angelic thing, maybe consider making it more along the paragon system instead of having it be glued to items, because I think people just want to see good stats and good abilities. The itemization is coming later. Whatever. This might tree. We might get a goddamn shrub by the time the next thing rolls out. But that's my really main one. Is can you put more into individual stats? Because that's really going to make it to where your character feels like your character. Nobody else has 10 into whatever lightning whiskers or whatever the fuck that is. But yeah, I think that's kind of. I don't really have anything more to add other than